Are you easily distracted or do you stay focused nonstop when you're working on something? How does getting distracted going off course as opposed to staying on course play a role in our success? We're going to dive into that today. Hey, everybody, welcome to another Kristen and Charlie chat here where hey, we're a bit of overachievers in going off course and have to keep reminding ourselves to stay on course. But all kidding aside, how is getting distracted and moving on to something else that you when you were working on something and so focused, how is that creating barriers to your success? We are gonna dive into that today because it actually blew my mind when I really started paying attention, and I triple dog dare all of y'all to do this in one day. Keep a little tally on a post-it note. How many times you get distracted and go off course from something that you were working on, and I'm telling you, it is mind blowing. And then when you really start to take a look at that and note when you're going off course, where Charlie and I are always like, off course, we're off course. And staying on course, you will be shocked at how much quicker you are getting to finish lines or at least making progress to your goals. What say you about that, Charlie?
I love the openings when you're giggling already on ta-da. It's going to be a funny one. Well, that's the nice thing about this is that these principles can be taken very serious and be very disciplined but that's not the journey we're on. We're on to have fun and make mistakes and course correct and just keep moving forward. I was thinking, there's goals. There's from point A to point B, and at B, or I want to look different, sound different. I want to have more skills. I want to get a certificate. I want to rake my lawn. Whatever that end point is, and when we start and we move through whatever time frame that is to get to that, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's just subtle on course, off course, and I think that's where it's a great place to start to take a look at this. Maybe you don't have a pile of goals ahead of you. Maybe you aren't chunking your day on the calendar and sticking to it. But you got a busy day and you go to your job and things. So where I started practicing on course, off course was maybe I started feeling a little irritated. And maybe I started looking outside of me as the problem. So I wanted to blame. I wanted to complain. I wanted to justify why I behaved a certain way. Or I didn't feel like being positive. I didn't feel like adding to the conversation. There were all these little clues, like maybe I'm off course a little. And the best thing is you can just start over. I can just start over. I can say, okay, I'm of course. That's how I say it. I don't say I'm bad. I'm wrong. There's nothing more than I'm off course. Is that the course I want to be on as a person? No. I'd rather be kind and connected and a part of and contributing, And so that's one way to kind of look at your day. Am I on course or am I off course? Now, if you're somebody that likes to be grumpy and irritated all day and you're great, then you're on course. Just stay out of my path. Because we attach to that stuff for some weird reason. So I started looking at that. What does that mean? Now, off course for me could be eating at night. Why am I doing this? What's up? Even if I don't have a goal or I'm not trying to tighten up or anything, it's not good for me. I don't think it's good for most people, but this is my experience is if I eat past 8 p.m. and it's usually ice cream or something not so good, but it's yummy. When I go to bed, maybe I wake up a little more sluggish in the morning, so I pay the consequences. So off course could be that. Off course could be I'm staying up later. I'm watching a little more Netflix. So I kind of look at all these variables during the day because those variables will absolutely take me off course easier on a goal type of on a goal golf course. Hey, there we go. So it's kind of like playing golf, which I don't do too often. But it'd be like whatever hole you started at, and you decided that, I'm not going to the 10th, even though it's after 9. I'm going to go over to the 17th because I want to. And people are like, dude, you're not following the course. And you're like, shut up. I want to do it my way. And I don't care. And, so it's obvious in certain things that you're off course.
You know what I love? I love that you said that you just say to yourself, I'm looking down at my notes here because I was actually writing as you were talking, that you just say, oh, I'm off course. Because here, and I would bet a lot of people that are watching or listening can relate to this. This is what I end up doing. When I go off course, I'm like, God, Kristen, what is your problem? And I start the blame game on myself, right? Like, and I spiral down into this, you suck speech. I've got some real good ones like, why can't you stay on course with that? Why would you do that again? Here we go again. And then I end up so far off course because now I'm not motivated to get back on, as opposed to just saying, oh, you're off course. Let's course correct here. That leaves all the blame out of it. That leaves all the shame out of it. It just is what it is. Somebody actually gave me a coffee mug one time for my birthday. It is what it is. Don't address any kind of meaning to it. Just course correct and get back on there. And I'm also realizing that it really is in so many different facets. It could be working on a project and you go off course. It could be staying healthy so that you have more energy. Like there are just so many, and there could be somebody that is sitting at home, lost their vision, lost their job, is sitting there in the woe is me. And that is way off course of the plans that they had all those years ago. And starting to look at, oh, wait, I'm off course. Let me get back on course here. And again, with no shame or blame, just, oh, a wake up call. This is off course for me. Let me switch gears.
Yeah, exactly. And it's me too. I was a hammerer. I'd pull it out like you're an idiot. And as we're going to talk about, or as we, in one of our other videos up here in this accessibility area, it's going to be interested or committed. And that's going to help you really weigh out, why am I doing this anyway? Why did I say yes to this? Why am I struggling so hard, so much to stay on course? Because you're not committed, but that's okay. We're going to go into that in another video. So like an airplane is off course 80% of the time. I have never gotten in an airplane to go from Connecticut to Florida and ended up in Alabama because what the pilot does is he constantly course corrects. When I was boating and I would have my waypoints and ways to get to the final place, I was off course constantly. I have the wind, the current, the hull, the type of hull I have. I have the way the waves are moving. I have the direction of this. I have the heading, the GPS heading. I have all these variables coming at me all day long. I mean, during that ride. So I've constantly got to keep course correcting. I'm driving on the screen right now with a big wheel. So you got to course correct. And because of that, I got to the end point. So that is what it just blew my mind. I'm like, gosh, I thought once I just was, okay, I'm heading in a boat and it feels like I'm going straight, feels right, but it isn't because it's off course. Why? Because the water shifted me a little. And that's the same thing in life. It's like helped. I shouldn't say what took me off course because I gave it the power to, and it's usually my mind. And I'm just going to explain an exercise where it really hammered this in. So I stood at one end of, I was at a big dealer meeting for a manufacturer in the industry for adaptive technology. And I was running up marketing and doing a bunch for them. But anyway, the CEO, he was like 6 feet 7, huge, tall guy from the Netherlands. And, I'm 5'8". And I'm at the other end, and I asked him, when I start moving towards you and I'm straight line, please holler out on course, on course, on course. And when I veer off that line, holler out off course, off course, off course. So I said, all right, let's go. And I stood there and he stood there. And my first question was, he's not saying anything. So I said, why aren't you hollering out on course? He goes, because you haven't moved. Ha! Step one, you got to take action. You'll never know if you're on course or off course if you stay on the couch. So step one was, so that was my first principle. No matter what you're moving towards, you got to start moving. Take action. So I started moving. He was hollering. Then I went off to the left, off course, and then I corrected. I got back on. Not so bad. Then I went a little more and I went off course. He hollered again. And I kind of gave him a little bit of a dirty look, like, stop irritating me. And I got back on course. Then I went again. And I said, geez, could you possibly stay out of my business and leave me alone? And then I went back on course. Then I went off course again, Kristen. And this time I was like, forget it. I always screw up. I'm not going to bother even trying anymore. But then I got back on course. So now, there's feedback loops, things that we get feedback from people, from our bodies, our minds, from we're not accomplishing what we set out to do. And feedback, instead of, like you said earlier, you got some feedback and then you wanted to beat up the feedback giver, which was yourself, and that isn't, it's like, I'm off course. What can I do? Reset. I can take one step back and start moving forward again. So by the end of that long line, it was across the room, and I finally fought my off course, like, this is terrible. It wasn't so bad because I kept getting back on course. And at the very end, I jumped up in the air and he caught me. It was the funniest thing in the world, but we both celebrated. Like, he was excited for me. He was so happy. I plowed through my off course, my frustrations, and I kept getting back on course. And I was so excited because I achieved what I set out to do.
I want to see footage of you jumping into his arms.
I didn't tell him I was going to do that. He was shocked, but he went with it. He read the signs. Blind man coming in air at you. Catch him.
That is such a visual of celebrating your wins, which is another one of our principles that we've done a successability video on, because it is important, especially after all of the on course, off course. And I don't know about our listeners, but it makes me feel tremendous to know that a plane is off course. What did you say the percentage was? 80 something?
80%.
80% of the time having to get it back on course. And I guess, I don't know what it is about this brain and psyche of mine, Charlie, but it's like I need real life proof that I'm not the crazy one, that this is an actual thing. Like, okay, now when I think about when I go off course, and I can just flip the switch to go back on and not do the shame and blame game, it'll be a heck of a lot easier to visualize the airplane, knowing that you're working against. There's a lot of stuff, like you said, feedback and stuff that we're working against. Wins, people's comments, people's opinions, things around the house, binge watching, all of the things. Ice cream in the freezer that my daughter insists we always have to have. There's a lot of stuff out there that we are working with, through, and against to stay on course. But man, just that visual of the plane, and the pilot always has to reset it, just like we do. We have to reset and go back at it instead of sitting there and throwing our hands up and saying, well, forget it, I mess everything up.
That would be hilarious if we're on a flight, you're sitting more towards the front of the plane and you hear some really loud screaming and arguing going on. And you ask the flight attendant, like, what's going on? Oh, that's the pilot and co-pilot. They're arguing. the pilot is so depressed he can't handle it because he's off course so much that the co-pilot is trying to coach him and offer him more feedback to help him get back on. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
If you think about it, they just accept that. And you just hit it. You said it. We just need to accept it. If you think I'm going to wake up and I'm going to work out and it's just going to be a wonderful journey, well, smoke a little more because that is not the truth of a human being. It gets off course. And like you said, bright and shiny objects, a very complex world with messages and sounds and emails and social medias and something that's a little more exciting to do. It's a constant, never-ending battle, but it's not once we shift into the committed. I committed to this. I'm going to take a deep breath, and I am going to course correct. And there is no shame in getting into something, whether and you realize that I have gone off course, I've gotten on course, I've gotten halfway into this, and I realize I don't want to, I'm not going to complete. This isn't, because the only one, like I might finish things and because I maybe didn't want anyone to notice, I started and didn't stop. Now it's like, I'm not going to do that. It's not working. It doesn't align. I didn't think it through from the beginning. I was only interested. I wasn't committed. Stop. I'm not course correcting. I'm done. And I'm going to come back and rethink my next plan of action.
I love it. I was just making some notes because what I'm hearing, and I have an actual example of this yesterday. What I'm hearing, you said earlier, and I circled it, take action. And that action might just be acknowledging, oh, I'm off course. That's the first thing, right? And then take action. One of the things that has been so helpful for me, and I know it has for you too, Charlie, is to have an accountability partner where, like, especially if you're in a big project or you're trying to do a big new thing, maybe getting healthy, working out, having somebody that can help you stay on course just by maybe text you every morning saying, did you get that workout in? Or where are you at with this project? When I was writing the children's book, I had an accountability partner that made sure that every week when I was taking time on Wednesdays to write the manuscript, did you get this part done, Kristen? How you working out with that one line we were trying to, and it made all the difference just to have somebody reminding me to stay on course. Another thing was yesterday, a good friend of mine called and he said, Kristen, I am having the worst day and I am just spiraling in this. Oh my God, this sucks. And I'm spiraling out of control. And I thought, let me call Kristen. She'll make me laugh and snap me out of it. And that was all that it took. I told a super funny story about something that happened here with my dogs. We talked for about 7 minutes, and then I got a text from him later on at night and said, but the rest of my day, I was back on course and productive. I just needed to get myself out of that spiral. So it could be something as simple as calling a friend that can make you laugh or having an accountability partner that says, what are you up to today? Don't waste your day. But action is the key.
Action is always it's progress, not perfection. Keep moving, because it'll lessen the fear, lessen the what are they going to think of me? It'll keep lessening the doubt you create. You just keep moving. I mean, it's amazing some of the things that I honestly years ago, no way would I believe I could ever do, and now I know anything that I want to do is possible. But I really question, why do you want to do that? Where did that come from? Is it aligned? So it's a questioning process. And Kristen, you said something very important. My accountability partner, every morning we would connect. This is, started in 2008. I started working with someone. And one day I said, yeah, I wasn't able to get whatever I said I was going to get done. And it wasn't anything massive. And he said, oh, okay. What did you make more important than the commitment you made to me on the phone yesterday? And I said, I'm all set. I don't need an accountability partner anymore. Because that really irritates me that you just asked me that. But what he was saying was, you and I we agreed to something. You have committed to taking 100% responsibility to your life. and your actions and results, right? Yes. Okay. So what did you what did you create or say this happens to be more important? Maybe I didn't, but I didn't think it through and I ran out of time, whatever. It was a wonderful lesson because we stayed for 5 more years together, even though in that call I wanted to run and I wanted to tell him, you don't get it. I had to do it. I had to do it. I have to, all that stuff was coming. And I went, oh, I get it. This isn't going to be the easiest thing, but boy, is it freeing to thy own self be true.
Wow. Yeah, that's it's powerful stuff when you think about just this little, what might seem like this little, so how we started this, on course, off course. Is that really, get distracted or don't take that action step? Is that really putting a barrier in my life? Absolutely. And when you do things like have an accountability partner, we even in our Thriving Blind Academy had remember when Corey, one of our mentors, had the boxes behind her, right? And Charlie was like, "All right, Corey, those boxes, they better get moved by such as what date do you have in your plan?" And Corey made the date that she was going to have those boxes all put away, and sure enough, she was not coming on that call when the due date was up without having those boxes moved. Just that little bit. And it was fun accountability. We weren't even being like, it must happen. We were joking with it and having a good time with it. But yeah, just having accountability and taking one action step to get back on course and looking at it as, oh, I'm off course. Let me get back on course with no shame, no blame. And hey, when you see next time you're on a flight, just remember you're off course 80% of the time.
You're not alone.
Make you feel good.
Yeah. And Kristen, we bring in a lot, like if you're parents raising blind children, if you're blind, living life, low vision, that is not what takes you off course. That isn't the problem. And a lot of when we do these, we don't bring in if you're visually impaired or blind or low vision or you're a parent, because it doesn't matter. It's life, and this stuff. Yes, I easily could get off course by blaming the reason is my eyesight, my legal blindness, but that was a lie. And it only made me feel worse, even though in the short term, it's like I could wash my hands of that goal. I'm blind. But that isn't the truth. That isn't what moves us forward.
Exactly. So moving forward, Charlie, I have to go back and rewatch this and put it in the comments of how many different principles and videos that we already have here on the Successibility channel that we actually referred to in this one conversation, which if that isn't just a example of how much all of these principles are intertwined on your journey, I don't know what is, but definitely go and look at the other videos here, because we've just referenced so many of them, and all of them, everything on this channel is intended and has strategies and examples in them to keep you on course. And when you go off course, you can watch a video and get back on course. And
so true.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Successibility channel. Hit the notification. That's how you know that that's when you get notified that we have a new video. Am I right, Charlie?
You got it. And hit that and hit that thumbs up button. I keep doing it on the screen.
And hit the thumbs up button. That's right. Excellent. Well, this has been another incredible Kristen and Charlie chat. We're so happy that you all are here. Share this video with someone that you know it will benefit. And then let us know in the comments if you've realized just how many times you go off course in a day. Also, let us know in the comments the other videos that you have watched that you realize that we referenced in this video today. That's a lot of homework, so we'll let you go. See y'all next time.
Bye-bye.